Fans of the live action One Piece are excited to hear today that it's actually gotten renewed for another season, which I wouldn't say is the most surprising news, but I was still a little bit cautious because this was a very expensive show for them to produce. So even though it had good viewership, I wasn't entirely confident that it was going to be renewed, but I can get more on that in a little bit. Right now, I'm just going to scroll down into this article from Comic Book Resources talking about it. So the headline, One Piece gets renewed for season 2 at Netflix. So scrolling down, a live action adaptation of the popular anime series of the same name, One Piece, debuted on Netflix on August 31st. It was heavily praised by critics and fans alike, and the show was also quick to rise on the streaming charts with very high viewership. That made it a no-brainer for Netflix to give One Piece a renewal, and on Thursday, original anime creator Eiichiro Oda announced that season 2 is officially in the works. And I initially heard about this on Twitter, and I got that video pulled up right here, so I just wanted to play like kind of a little bit of this just to give my opinion on some of the things that they're actually saying on this. The adventures of Naki and the live-action Straw Hats will continue onward. It'll still take a while to get the scripts ready, so please be patient. From here on, it seems to me the Straw Hats will need a great doctor. We will see. This is what I was waiting for in this show. Yeah, a lot of people who are just now coming into One Piece probably don't know who Chopper is, but Chopper is an awesome character, so I'm excited that they're bringing him to it. I just don't know what it's actually going to do with it, because even the producer was asked about it. So this is how it describes it. While it's so far not been announced, season 2 would bring perhaps the most complicated of these. Netflix would have to add a 90 centimeter tall human reindeer hybrid called Tony Chopper to its regular cast, alongside the likes of Inaki Godi as Luffy. Okay, so it has been announced, and maybe this interview was before it was actually came out today. Medea, that's the or one of the showrunners of this, remained tight-lipped about any potential continuation of One Piece on Netflix, but when asked if he's thought about how Chopper would work, said, "All I know about Chopper is he's my favorite character in the show, and so I love Chopper." Admitting it would still be difficult, Medea added that it's a challenge for sure, and I agree, because he would basically have to be a CG character, kind of like how Rocket is in Guardians of the Galaxy, which could be very expensive, especially when you consider this show already has a pretty high budget for the first season. Netflix's live-action One Piece adaptation reportedly boasts a budget of $18 million per episode, and this is an article from Collider, making it one of the most expensive shows ever made. To put into context how much that is compared to other massive shows, One Piece has a bigger per episode budget than The Sandman, See, Game of Thrones, and The Mandalorian, all of which cost $15 million per episode. The show that exceeds One Piece budget include The Pacific and House of the Dragon at $20 million per episode, WandaVision at $25 million per episode, Stranger Things at $30 million per episode. Wow. I didn't think Stranger Things was that expensive, but I mean, I guess maybe trying to set it in the 80s kind of costs a lot for them. And The Lord of the Rings of Power at $58 million per episode. And that didn't really work out too well for Rings of Power, but man, $18 million for episode. So yeah, that's a lot of money. And now they're going to have to add a CG character to the crew. I mean, even though the show was pretty positive amongst fans of the series, or at least pretty much anyone who watched it. I mean, a 95% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, 8 out of 10 on Metacritic. So people who watched it liked it, but this is why hesitation for it, because even though people really liked it, I didn't know if the audience was going to be big enough to justify the budget that it would require for this. But evidently Netflix saw what's going on with this and are like, yeah, that's good enough. Let's continue on with this. I mean, keep in mind, they've only renewed it for one more season. They didn't do multiple seasons, but maybe they plan on it. I mean, who knows? Or they're just taking it one season at a time. I mean, that's entirely possible, but I'm still excited to see another season of this. But one thing that I have questions about is just the fact that they said they're still working on the scripts, because I did do a video earlier that talked about this article right here. One Piece producers say scripts for season 2 are ready. Episodes could air 12 to 18 months after strike ends. So the producers of it are saying, or that's the people at the studio are saying that they have the script ready, whereas Oda is saying that they're still working on it. So I'm not sure what that means entirely. Maybe they kind of have like the first drafts of the scripts done, and then Oda's going to go through it and kind of make his adjustments, because famously he was really heavily involved in he would make the studio do changes to it if it didn't fit his vision, which I think is the smart move to do. And the fact that the matter that they actually had the humility to say, like, you know what, you're right, this is your creation, we're going to do what you want, because he made something that's been around for a quarter century. People have loved it since then. New people are coming in all the time and they're loving it. So I like that the writers of this and the showrunners of this are actually saying, you know what, we can't do better than you. So we're just going to try to do what you would want us to do, or we're going to do what you think is best to do for this. Now, I know there's some give and take given the medium transfer of this. I mean, it's not going to necessarily be a direct one-for-one translation from the anime to the live action or the manga to the live action. But still, I mean, sticking closer to the source material is honestly why this show succeeded. You got initial fans of One Piece coming into the live action show. They're liking it and saying it's good. And then they're spreading the word. And then people who don't know of One Piece are like, oh, wow, this anime I never heard of has a live action adaptation. And even the fans of it are saying it's good. So I'm going to check it out. And I think that's beneficial for everyone involved. I mean, that's how you make a good adaptation of something. You don't try to subvert the audience's expectations or anything. You stay true to what the source material is. And if the original fans like it, they'll bring more people into it. And I think that's a lesson that a lot of studios should learn from this. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And if you like this video, make sure you click the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.